Today I'm headed to Spring Hill Cemetery in Nashville, Tennessee, and as you can see there's Nashville off at a distance a little bit. And the reason I'm headed to Spring Hill Cemetery is there's something very different there that has just recently occurred. It seems that Keith Whitley has now got a new monument for his gravesite, and they have removed the old one, and so I want to take a look at that today. I'm going to insert a picture of what the old marker for Keith Whitley looked like, and it also included Lori Morgan's name on one side of it too. But now to the cemetery. We're in the section of the cemetery that is called Crestview here at Spring Hill, and just ahead, as you can see, there's like an angel bent over on the knees, and that is where we'll be looking at Keith's new marker. As we head on up the hill, I want to say a few things about Keith Whitley. First of all, I did do a video previously with that included Keith Whitley with his famous father-in-law, George Morgan, a little over a year ago, but it had the old marker on it, which included Lori's name on it. But since he's got this new marker, I thought I'd give a little bit more details on him and show you the new marker for Keith Whitley. Keith Whitley was born with the birth name of Jackie Keith Whitley, but of course he went by his middle name, just Keith Whitley. And he was born to the parents of Faye Ferguson and Elmer Whitley in Ashland, Kentucky, but he actually was raised in the small town of Sandy Hook, Kentucky. That was probably about close to 50 miles away, I think, from Ashland, Kentucky. As we get closer to the marker here, I want to say I've already made a roundabout it once before actually doing the video, and wanted to make a couple of remarks about it. As you'll see from the background there, there's no little foot markers there, and when we get a closer view, a few minutes of the front, you'll notice there's no foot marker there. And why is that a surprise to me, I guess, is because the monument or marker for Keith Whitley with this large angel bowed over the marker is that there's no name on it other than just Whitley. It doesn't have Keith's name on it, his birth date or his death date or anything on it like the previous marker did. I don't know if they're going to eventually get a foot marker that will tell that or not. You will notice there's a little black marble marker in front of it, and it was here a couple of years ago when I was doing or a year or so ago, I should say, when I filmed the first video, and I think it was maybe even attached to that marker, after the fact, of course. But the picture that I included to start with Keith's marker that I took probably 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years ago when I was first visiting his gravesite, it didn't have even that little black marker. So don't know the reason for this, but it will let you know that Keith Whitley, the little black marker will, that was inducted into the Country Music Hall of Fame in 2022. Another thing worth mentioning is this marker here was put up in June of 2025, and Lori Morgan's husband at the present time in 2025 has also passed away, and I don't know if that's why there's not maybe going to be Lori's name anywhere on this marker or around it at a later date, or if she's going to be buried with her husband. And I didn't go find his grave in the cemetery today because he hasn't been passed away but a couple of months at the most, and he's not probably even got a marker. And I'll do a video maybe later on that to see if Lori's going to put a marker up with her name with Randy White, which was her husband. While we're looking at the marker here, I'd like to mention a story that I read that I found very interesting, and I didn't know about Keith Whitley. Of course, I knew he was born in Kentucky, and also knew that Ricky Skaggs was born in Kentucky, but I didn't realize that They both started out, of course, and Ricky Skaggs is still mainly known for bluegrass, but Keith Whitley kind of started out in bluegrass too before going into country music. And he even played in a band that was bluegrass band, and at the same time as Ricky Skaggs was in that band. So I found that interesting, and it said later on that him and Ricky would break away from that band and even perform together as a duo. So you might want to look up an album or check that out if you're interested in it, because it's hard to believe that they were connected. Now while we're looking down toward the front part of the gravesite where the angel is for Keith Whitley, we're going to zoom in a little farther down, and just past that cross you see a marker that's standing up a little taller than the rest, and that is where Keith Whitley's father-in-law, George Morgan, is buried. Keith Whitley was always in love with music, as he started out very young age. He was even in the band, I believe, by the time he was 16 years old. And I'm going to show you this big tree here, and I'll give you an idea in case you're parking a different way or looking for another grave that I was hoping to see today, and that was a Buck Trent. And they do have a little tiny sign up, but it's not the permanent marker that he will be getting. As you just go across the road here, there's where the red flowers are, is where you'll see Buck Trent's grave. And they say a marker has been ordered. They've just got the platform part there now. And just hoping that would give you a little location on him. So we'll head on out from the cemetery, and I'll mention just a couple of more things about Keith Whitley before I close the video out. As I've already mentioned that Keith Whitley was married to Lori Morgan, another thing about that is that he wrote and sang a song that was called Tell Lori I Love Her. And I'm not sure, he may have wrote that even before they got married as a married song. I'm not sure, or if he did it afterwards. If you know, you can drop me a line and let me know about that. And that's a beautiful tribute to Lori Morgan. But I guess my favorite song that he sang was the song When You Say Nothing at All, and he has such a calm, beautiful voice on that recording, I think. Keith Whitley passed away at the very young age of 34 years of age, and he was just like a couple of months being 35. And being so young, you can understand why he didn't have that many records out at the time. It is said that he only had 2 albums that had been published and at the time of his passing, and he had several singles. So he had just finished work, they said, on a 3rd album, and it was actually released a few months after Keith's death, and it was called I Wonder Do You Think of Me. However, one of Keith's songs called I'm No Stranger to the Rain did make Single of the Year in 1989 and received a Country Music Association award for that. There's the funeral home off at a distance, and I will mention that Spring Hill Cemetery is just across the road from the Nashville National Cemetery, and we'll be checking out maybe a couple of country music stars that are buried there, and one of my videos in the future. But as you can see, the National Cemetery is a large cemetery itself, as well as Spring Hill being a large cemetery. As we leave the cemetery, I'd like to hear back from you on what you think of Keith Whitley's new marker for his gravesite. It is an awesome marker for sure. Was you, like me, surprised that his name's not even on it, just the last name Whitley on it? Do you think he'll get a new footstone with his birth and death date and full name on it? Do you think Lori will end up being buried by Keith Whitley, or do you think she maybe will, when the last husband that just passed away, Randy White, marker goes up, that it'll also have Lori's name beside his? As we leave Nashville, I'd like to add that Even though Keith Whitley only released a couple albums when he was living, I'm glad to say that they have continued to make albums of his greatest hits with singles, and other stars give tribute to him as he was such an awesome singer. And as always, I want to say thank you so very much for watching my video. I hope you have a good day, and maybe that you found out a little something you didn't already know about Keith.